for the most part of my life, as far as I can remember, coming out of uni and then into work, all I wanted to do was get more. I was always trying to chase after achievement, I guess. I started realizing, I guess, asking questions as like, is this really how life is supposed to be? I was brought up a free thinker. The existence of a creator, a God, and all of that was never really something at the forefront of my mind at all. Like, I heard about it, I knew about it, I had Christian friends, I had some Buddhist friends or whatever it is, but that was not me. So at that point in time, there was also I was going through a tough time, right, with my marriage and work and everything sort of colliding, and I thought, okay, this definitely needs some fixing. Problem is, I don't know how or where to start. I met a friend of mine who was coming to HDBB. Then she said, hey, there's this thing called Alpha. Why don't you come, right? I was like, okay, this is weird enough, but whatever, I have a problem. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know where to go. I don't know how to, sort of scope and start to fix things. So I said, well, why not? The small group sessions were interesting, although at the start, I was thinking more than I was participating. But over time, I guess that really was what sort of opened up my thought process. And I think from there, it opened up a path into many other things. It was a great introduction. I think I had to go through, ask all of the questions that I wanted to ask, talk to the people that I felt that I could learn and hear from. That helped me sort of formulate my thoughts and my feelings around it. And from there, it worked its way down, I think, from the head down to the heart. And lastly, I think, into action. I was still early in the journey then, but I could see a lot of things changing, right? Like the way I viewed the world, my values, the way I ultimately looked at my marriage and my wife. And I think, from there, it sort of have that reset of my being, right? The reorientation. So yeah, that was Alpha for me. I think as Christians, in sharing our faith with millennials in particular, there are many things I think that are important, but I think the one critical thing really is context or the cultural construct. Understanding that cultural construct that the person comes from, I think, is absolutely crucial. The gospel, at the end of the day, is a worldview, and it's an all-encompassing one, right? It encompasses everything here in this world and all the way till eternity. Somebody who doesn't come from that worldview is going to find that daunting, I would say. They might not look at it from a sort of religious or a spiritual point of view, but things like, social justice, the political lines, LGBTQ, abortion, all of these big issues. I think millennials care and think a lot about that, and they're constantly being fed, right, narratives about all of these things. Those are actually pathways or opportunities, I think, for Christians to not only address, but also to, I think, use as a means to introduce Christian point of view. Alpha is a good way, I think, and in the several alphas that I've gone for, some of these questions do come up, and discussions around them are pretty good. Looking back at my journey, when I first went into Alpha, I first stepped into church, I'm being introduced to an entire aspect or facet of life that I never knew existed, that actually forms part and parcel of our being. Eventually, as I went through the whole process of understanding and going through that journey, it was an intellectual, physical, emotional, and ultimately, I think, spiritual journey that I went through. And there is someone who can satisfy it. I think my purpose, at least now, is really to seek Him out. The more I sought Him out, the more I found. Across various facets of my life, whether it was work or relationships or whatever it is. So I'll keep going.